What's up? This is Kennedy Copeland, and you're checking out the 3 Count Podcast.
When in it, an unbelievable weight that you might hate, but you can't even
Dang, high pass, where'd you find that drag ball at?
Welcome everybody to another great edition of the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Entering the Ring. I am your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up this mountain called wrestling. That's right. But like every good Sherpa, which you will refer to me as, you got to have someone who's been there, done that, and can find a more efficient way up the path. So on this special Halloween edition, you see him right there. He's been a part of FGW. He's been a part of TCW and IWA. He is the Killbilly. He is the urban legend. He is Evil Nate.
Yeah, that's right. That's how you do an introduction. Hell yeah.
Yo, like okay, so I'm gonna like fangirl out for a little bit, but I low-key like I saw your picture start showing up and I was like, bro, this is a straight tribute to like every 70s, 80s horror movie, The Devil's Rejects, everything that was hidden. I was just talking about this episode or talk about you coming on the show with my boss, who he has like this invested interest in, crazy enough, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I was like, bro, let me show you this picture really quick of one of my friends I'm going to interview. And he was like, oh, whoa. He's like, what's his get up? I was like, come on, man. Like, you see it.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of self-explanatory. I got a big chainsaw and I'm wearing like either human flesh or Bigfoot flesh or alien flesh. So yeah, man, I appreciate that. Like, I'm a huge chainsaw mark, and you're right. When Paige, Dahlia, and myself were coming up with this gimmick, we that's a lot of this, because a lot of this you're not going to do anything new in pro wrestling, but you can always take something to make it your own. Like I'm not a deathmatch fan, but I loved the first FMW Leatherface, Corporal Kirshner, I think that's how you say his name. Just the intensity and the energy he had when he would just like come to the ring and he'd clear out everybody with the chainsaw. So I was like, that's cool. I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah, you have like this like incredible like, and just, you know, just like watching and seeing like everything that you're putting together, I was like, man, like this is awesome. Seeing you with pictures of Mothman, seeing you in front of the Texas Chainsaw House, like I legit every time I see you, and it's crazy too because like you have your hair pulled back right now, but even when you have your hair down, you are legitimately like the pictures that you have, and I don't know if you do it purposely or if it's just happens, but you legit have like this throwback to like 70s and 80s, like great horror movie kind of like photograph. And I'm like, yo, this is everything that I've been looking forward to seeing in like a character. So I was like, I have to get him on the show. We got to talk about this because I'm so hyped about it, man. I'm so happy that you found something that you're just like enthralled with.
Yeah, thanks. I used to do so I'm such a horror movie mark, and of course a wrestling mark, and then I love rock and roll. Like always, you know, I played in bands and stuff, but thing about a band, especially when you come from a small town like me, is you can't ever keep them together because everybody finds out how much work it is. And like, it's a lot of work. When you do something, you got to do it. Like if you want to like have fun with it or make a run with it. So I shifted from music to professional wrestling because I was like, well, I can depend on myself for that. So when I started in wrestling after a couple of years, I came up with this old gimmick of a rock star, and I come out with the microphone stand, and I do like a Steven Tyler, but I was always a heel, a real piece of shit. And like, I think I was like Vince Neil or Ozzy, and then I'd get my ass whooped. So I did that for a long time, but this is something I've always wanted to do. So I appreciate that. And like, I love like, you know, the vibe of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the vibe of, just how like all the movies, the concept, because there's so many layers to the actual Leatherface character. And I've actually met a few of the Leatherfaces. The original Gunnar Hansen, I met him back when I was 19, and I was coming up to him, and he's sitting there, and like, you know, a lot of people would get this feeling if they were meeting Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise. I could give a fuck about those guys. But I'm walking up to this guy who played the original Leatherface, and I'm like, I'm shaking. I said, sir, I said, I portray your version of Leatherface in a haunted house every year. I'm not big enough, but I do what you did, you know, on the silver screen. And he said, it's not the size of the actor, it's the size of the acting. And I was like, cool. Oh my God, hell yeah. So, and I've talked with other guys too, RA, who played Leatherface in part 3. I've had a little interaction with Andrew Bernarski, who played the most intense Leatherface in the remake and the prequel to the remake, 03 and 06. And then I've had a little interaction with Dan Yeager, who played him in Chainsaw 3D.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've always been around, and it's something I've always wanted to do, and I appreciate like you like really picking up on what I'm trying to do with it, with the acknowledging of like the old school classics, maybe an Evil Dead vibe here, maybe a Hills Have Eyes vibe here. And if you can't tell, I have a hillbilly ass accent, you know, it's kind of thick because where I'm from, a place called Eastern Kentucky, Pikeville, Kentucky, that's where all that Hatfield and McCoy bullshit went on. It's like a hillbilly Romeo and Juliet is what it was, you know, two families fighting and stuff. That's where I'm from. So I was like, okay, wrong turn. What's the stereotype when you think of Kentucky? Barefoot, dumbass, inbred, no teeth, overalls, straw hat. Inbred redneck. I was like, okay, I'm going to take that, and that's what I'm going to be. So I'm going to embrace that stereotype, and it doesn't like bother me at all. Like I embrace that. So.
Well, that's awesome. And you mentioned like, right, so you left the rock and roll scene, you went into the wrestling scene, you've been trained by Funaki, WWE legend, I don't care what anybody says, and then obviously Hall of Famer Rikishi as well. So like you've got like all these accolades, plus you have a character that you have like just developed and formed. I know, and you mentioned that you and Dahlia came up with it together and that you've been able to execute it. I'm just curious, like, aside from just like the Texas Chainsaw side, what, like, you said it was something that you've always wanted to do. I'm just curious, like, how did you just like pinpoint it and just like, this is how I'm going to run with it?
I guess, so like I said, I go back, I'm not a deathmatch fan, no disrespect to guys that do that. I think that's cool. Not my cup of tea. But I always liked the ideal of what Leatherface in Japan would do. Like there's something really powerful about how he would come out and like the believability of, that chainsaw. I don't care, when you hear a chainsaw and stuff, like there's something very powerful about that. I mean, like it's an actual motor. So, just, I guess how we pinpointed it is it's something I'd always toyed around with in my head when I was younger. Cause I started in 09 and it's, I kind of found my way through different gimmicks and different interpretations. And finally, way before Dahlia, Paige, and myself, we went out to LA to train under Rikishi, we had actually started coming up with this idea like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did something like Leatherface? Because, I'm a huge Leatherface chainsaw fan. And I was like, yes, it would, and then so we talked about it for years. And we even discussed it out there with our, like our coach Rikishi and a couple of the other students out there, what we wanted to do. And so we had the unfortunate incident of what happened with her feet. And, her accident out there, which she's, recovered from. She's a total badass bitch. And like, you just, she'll fall 100 times and get up 101. Like you can't stop her. And I'm so excited to see her in the ring, her return. But aside from all that, we just, during this downtime of 4+ years of being away from the ring, we were just like, let's reinvent ourselves. Let's pull the trigger. Let's do it. I said, okay, so what I want to do, I don't want to be a straight Leatherface. I don't. I want you to know that, hey, I love Leatherface, but I don't want to be Leatherface. I want to, everywhere I went across this country, be it, San Antonio, Texas, when I was training under Funaki, my accent sticks out. It just does. And I'm okay with it. Like, I'm not like, I don't feel self-conscious about it. I'm cool with it, man. Like, because, you go to the Northeast, everybody's got an accent, different one up there. You go to, Louisiana, there's a Cajun accent down there. You go out to LA, there's accents out there. You go to Texas, there's a different redneck accent down there. Everybody's got them, and we don't have to be embarrassed by them. I'm cool with it. So my accent, man, it was always pointed out. And I was like, yeah, I'm a hillbilly. I'm from Kentucky. I said, bam, that's what I'll do. We'll take that. Everybody's scared of these little small towns. And I'm from the mountains. And you watch a movie like Wrong Turn, That shit's scary, dude. Like I lived in the fucking mountains to where my backyard was a mountain. You walk out, it's a mountain. Side is a mountain. Here's a mountain. I'm up a hollow. That shit's scary. Like it just is. It's normal for me. But you take somebody not from there, you put them there, and you put the ideal, okay, wrong turn. What's everybody say about Kentucky? You know, this and that. I said, okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of that, sprinkle it with that. And after I sprinkle it with that, what else do I like? Urban legends. I'm a huge cryptozoology mark also, like we both are. Like I'm the type of guy, I believe in that stuff. And I approach things as people will say, show me evidence that it does exist. And I say, well, show me evidence that it doesn't exist. Show me. Can you prove it doesn't? No, you can't. You can't prove it doesn't. So, you know, when you prove it to me, we'll talk. That's just how I am, though. And so we just put all these pieces together. I said, I think we got something here. I don't know what we got, but I had never seen like anybody calling themselves the urban legend. I was like, that's what we're going to do. And so we kind of focused it more around that. So.
Yeah, no, and I like it too. It's funny because you mentioned how like Eastern Kentucky is known for like the hillbilly kind of scene and everything. Like me personally, I'm from Western Nebraska, and like the biggest thing we have going for us is, I don't know if you're familiar, but Children of the Corn was actually filmed in a town called Kimball, but the book is actually set in a town called Hemingford, which is actually north of where I used to live, and in Kimball is actually south of where I live. So I like live dead center. So I'm way familiar with like the horror scene and like the crazy legends that you get, and being left out somewhere where you're really uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm well aware of like those horrors.
Oh yeah. So like, yeah, you take that because like, you know, we're in Indiana and Ohio right now is where we're kind of located. So there's a shitload of cornfields, and there's always just like, I'm a low budget horror movie guy. Like you can sell me on anything. If it's got a killer scarecrow or a killer clown, I'm all for it, man. And like, I love that shit. That shit's like the worse the movie, the more low budget, the more I love it. I don't know why. Like I love the good stuff. Don't get me wrong, the classics. But when I used to go to a video store as a kid, I'd get the worst shitty horror movies that you could get, man. And that's just, I'm all about that. So yeah, that's so cool you're from there, because I do love Children of the Corn. That's awesome.
So I'm curious, man, like, you know, you've been in the business for a while and you've been training and stuff like that. So I got to know, like, what's the worst bump you've taken?
Oh, man, you know, I don't know. Like, I guess it kind of depends on the ring. I've taken some bumps like out on the floor when I first started, because what's really funny is when you first start, and like, especially because I started when I was 19 and 20. So you're, you know, full of like piss and vinegar, and you're like, yeah, I'll do anything. Hell yeah. I don't understand psychology, but you want me to do something, I'll do it. So this guy, like, he was, you know, I'm like 20, and he's like, hey, I'm going to clothesline you outside, and you just take a bump, just, you know, tuck your chin. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And like, there's no padding around the wrestling ring at all. It's just gymnasium floor, you know? And so it comes a spot, I get shit canned. I'm on the outside, pop up, turn around, boom, clothesline. I hit the fucking floor, and it sounded like a shotgun, you know, just ringing out through the entire little gymnasium. And like, that hurt really bad. Like, I remember that. And then probably the next worst, probably actually the most worst, is in 2013, I was wrestling a match in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. And there was a spot coming up, and it's so funny too. I whipped the guy, and the guy was like probably 110 pounds. Like, he was a little man, and I was much bigger than him. I was like probably 220 at that time. So I whip him into the rope, and he comes, I go to give him a sidewalk slam. He's supposed to come up and hurricane me, you know, boom, boom, like that. And you're supposed to, like, you know, take a fucking roll out of it or something like that. Well, what I did, my lazy ass, I kind of did a half and half, and I landed right here. And when I did, I shattered this clavicle right here. Oh. Like, you can see it like right there, bam. Yeah. And I knew as soon as I hit, I rolled outside and fell on the floor, and I just like kind of slide my hand up, and you could, like, the bones were like almost sticking out of the skin. And long story short, I had to have surgery. I got a plate in there now with like 9 bolts. So that put me on the shelf for about 9 months. I got really fat and really out of shape. That was awesome. You know, couldn't fucking beat that. It was great. But I'd say that's my worst bump. So yeah.
Damn.
Easiest bump I ever take anytime, believe it or not, it's a superplex from the top rope. Never hurts. I don't know why. Like, you take a regular suplex, hurts like a bitch. You take it from the top rope, great. Don't know
Yeah.
why. It's weird.
I can attest to that too. I've taken a
Yeah,
couple of
okay.
those, and I'm like, what? Like,
It
yo,
makes no
so
fucking
weird.
sense. Yeah, it makes no sense.
No. So curious, man. Like from like worst bumps, I need to know, man. What's the hardest you've ever been hit?
Oh my God. Let me see. I've only taken a couple of chair shots to the head. Those actually didn't hurt because the guy wasn't trying to kill me. So I'd say the worst I'd ever been hit is two times come to mind. One time, this is like my first 2 years in the business. Me and the guy, we were at the end of a feud, and it was a casket match. And bell rings, ding, ding, ding. We meet in the middle. No, actually, this was the third match. So this was the final, the rubber match, the last match, whatever. So we meet in the middle of the ring, talking shit to each other, nose to nose, face to face. And we start throwing punches and bam, bam, bam. I mean, we're laying them in, and because that's what we were doing. We wanted to look good. And somehow he hit me, man, and like my knees just buckled. And luckily he pulled me back up, and like I just kept swinging, and we just kept fighting into the turnbuckle. That happened. And then one time when I was working down in Texas, down in San Antonio, me and the guy, like we were in a decent program, and he like tackled me in the beginning of the match, and he just fucking like, he was laying these shots in, beating the shit out of me. And I told him, I said, we got outside, I said, motherfucker, you got a receipt coming. And no, I didn't say it to him outside. I said it to him when we got to the locker room. I said, buddy, I said, because we're friends, I was like, you got a receipt coming. I just want you to know that. And so a month later, we had our next match, and I got him it was like a tables match. I got him on the table, and I just I never chop anybody. And I just gave this big ass chop across his chest. I said, that's a receipt, motherfucker. But those are like the worst two I've ever been hit. Like nothing crazy. I mean, one time I did a move and I like hit the guy's skull and I broke my nose. I mean, that happened, but that was on me. That was, an accident. So I guess that's the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say me and my co-host. Well, he's the host of the debate show.
Yeah.
We ran a match, and yeah, I it was like the first 15 seconds of match, and I decked him, and I was like, I just full on, and he was like, he's like, I'm usually the one that does something, and it like he usually does it first, and then like I deliver a receipt, but it was just me. Just cold clocked him, and then he turned around and like we started getting into a chop battle, but he was just gonna smack me in the face. And what ended up happening was, as he pulled back, I leaned in, and he hit me like right on the top of the head, and it was just the loudest smack. And I was like, oh
Oh no.
that one hurt because it was like all palm, just goes
Yeah.
straight down. I was like,
That's
oh.
wild, man. I know what that's like. I got chopped across the back one time, like my first 2 years in, and it hurt so bad. Like it just stung, and I don't know why. Like that was like, I can still feel it to this day. And I've been chopped a lot, but man, guy just like, we were outside brawling, he chopped me across the back, and I was just like, and I sold, and it hurt. I can still feel it right now. It's nuts. So
So curious, like being in the business for a while and then taking a small break and getting ready to get back in. What's been like one of the hardest lessons you've had to learn?
patience. Like, I mean, it's hard to I don't think I'm the best, and I don't, I mean, I like myself, and there's nothing wrong with liking yourself, but when you know when you have an idea of what you're capable of doing, and you can kind of see it in your head, and you're not able to act on it yet, and you kind of just got, you're kind of just buying your time. Patience really is a virtue, and if you can be patient with yourself and with the circumstances that you're being dealt, being handed, or that are being just shoved up your ass, and there's nothing you can do about it. I think I'll speak for myself and Paige both. I think patience is probably the biggest thing I've taken away from wrestling at this point, and that, and just kind of just have fun with everything, like I'd say those are like the biggest things. Just take yourself serious, but not too serious. So all of that.
Bet.
Yeah.
Bet, man. So I'm curious, like I know a lot of wrestlers who don't eat before a show, but I know they usually have like that post-match snack or even that post-match meal. So I'm very curious, man, what's your post-match meal?
It used to be, I'll speak from what it used to be, because at this point I don't know what it is now. We'd get finished with the show and we go to a place called Logan's Roadhouse, which is like a Texas Roadhouse or an Outback or whatever. And I love wings, and I would just eat a shitload of wings. Like I just love. I mean, the time I broke my nose, we went to the place. I couldn't taste them, but I ate them. You know, like it just So that's what it was. I don't know what it'll be now. I'm sure it'll probably be, if it's shitty food, it'll probably be me stopping at McDonald's, taking the bread off and eating like 5 patties, you know, so I'll do that. Yeah. So, right. Because some I used to eat before shows, but man, I'll shit my pants. So I just, because I get like all kinds of nerves, and I get in, especially at this point now, like I'm like, oh my God. So like, I'll be very careful. It'll probably just be some pre-workout on my stomach before the match, or maybe a sugar-free energy drink, something like that. But yeah, I'd say after, if it's something good, I'll do some barbecue or something. I love barbecue, so.
Bet, man. Yeah. Like I know for me, it's like I'm always trying to like find like the next trash item that I can just like shove down my face. Like I'm not even gonna front. Like for a while there, like we were in West Virginia. We drive across back to Maryland, and I was like, yo, we gotta stop at Taco Bell and I gotta get the $5 box.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, like when I'm off, like when I'm not being strict on my diet, which happens more often than it, should. When I'm not being strict, or like when I finally get to my cheat day or whatever, fucking A, I'm gonna eat it all. I'm gonna eat everything. Like I'll go crazy, man. Pizza. I love pizza. Taco Bell, I absolutely love. Right now I'm a huge like Arby's fan. Their number one is fantastic. It's like some kind of smokehouse brisket sandwich. I love brisket. Brisket's so good. So Chipotle's got a brisket bowl right now that's off the chart. So yeah, I'll eat anything like that. I'm from Kentucky though, so if it's got some sugar in it or something, I'm all about it,
Yeah, I'm a big brisket fan myself too, man. So I can relate. So I'm curious, man, like being in the business, like we said, you started back in 2009. What kind of advice would you give to up and coming wrestlers?
Oh, easy. Let me see. Diversify yourself. I would definitely go to the gym. I'm not saying you have to be muscle bound. That's not what I'm saying. Because when I started out, I was a very skinny guy that didn't have any muscle. And then I got really fat, and which is even worse than being really skinny, in my opinion. For myself, nothing wrong with fat people, because I've been fat as hell. I don't like it for myself. And I would never shame anybody on their body, because I also have the approach too that wrestling needs all body types. It does. You need a Mick Foley here, just like you need an Ultimate Warrior over here. And that's a fact. I don't care what anybody says. That's how I feel. But I would just, anybody young and upcoming, try to go to a school, like a legit school, not just some jabroni or jobber. Try to go to a legit school. Try to get in with somebody, because now there's so many. Like there's just so many now with Hall of Famers and legends. Just try your best to get, if you're in the Northeast, go somewhere like Monster Factory. I couldn't recommend that enough. I'd go to a place like that. If you're, down south, go to San Antonio's got the hybrid school by Chris Marvel, I believe is his name, Coach Marvel. If Funaki's involved with that school now, then you go, Rikishi's got his in LA. There's just all kinds of schools out there. So I would get on a good diet, get on a gym regimen. And like I said, you don't have to be this jacked up guy, but you need to be in shape, because being in that ring and being able to go, that's what's important. Like you have to be able to go, because in-ring shape matters. So gym regimen, decent diet, and a good school, and try to do something that sticks out. Don't worry about dives. Don't worry about diving. Don't worry about doing flips. If you can do it, that's fucking awesome. You don't need to do it all the time. Like do just those things. Focus on that, like that kind of stuff. That's what I would recommend. Just gym, good school, decent diet, and try to do something that makes yourself stand out. Don't come at me with this shit of, I don't need a gimmick. I love Bryan Danielson. All right, that's cool. Are you Brian Danielson? Oh, you're not. Okay. You need to do something then. You need to do some kind of get people talking about you. It's something like that, because it's the concept of when they throw you on a poster, is somebody going to stop and look at it? Is somebody going to buy a ticket for how you look? That kind of thing. If I have 100 guys that look like Brian Danielson or CM Punk or Adam Cole, am I going to, me personally, I wouldn't, but that's me. You need kind of that diversity. So my advice is do something that's going to make you be you. Take from things, like I'm a huge Stone Cold Steve Austin mark. Like I'm all about Steve Austin, but so, yeah, I guess that's my advice. Just do that.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, that makes sense too. So you're gonna be back in the ring. At this time, actually, you've been back in the ring. So I'm very curious, man. I got the nerves worked up, but I gotta know. I need one do and one don't of the locker room.
Oh, let me see. Just don't stink. You know what I mean? So that's a don't. So not to do. Don't stink. Because I'm a stinky ass guy. I can't, dude. I tell you, my saving grace from just traveling all over this country with Dahlia has been wet wipes. I don't understand why we as Americans use dry toilet paper to wipe our asses, because it's not as good as wet wipes. Like I try to use nothing but wet wipes because I'm a stinky ass man, and wet wipes. So I can't praise wet wipes enough. But a don't of the locker room, don't stink, and a do is just kind of get warmed up and go over your match, try to get there at a decent time, something like that. Just ain't nothing wrong with like sitting in the corner and vibing to yourself, got your headphones on. That's what I like to do. I get there, figure out who I'm working with. We go over it probably like 500 times because I'm going to forget something. That's just what I do. And I'll put my headphones on, do some push-ups, and just that kind of thing. So yeah, that's what I would say. Just enjoy yourself, and yeah, that'd be my biggest do in the locker room. But yeah, big don't, just don't stink. That's it.
I like it. I like it. So those are all my heavy hitting questions, but we do got to get into the second best segment of the 3 Count podcast. People ask me all the time, they're like, well, if that's the second, what's the first? The first is the Red Dogs Power Rankings that you can find on the debate shows every Sunday live, or you can catch them on Monday, because sometimes we just release a video on TikTok or Instagram randomly of just the top 10, matches of the week. But this is the 3 Count podcast, 10 count questions. Mr. Nate, this is how it works. I'm going to fire off 10 questions at you rapid fast. Whatever is your first answer, that's your answer.
All
right. So what we'll do is we will add the imaginary timer for added pressure. Bing! And here we go. SmackDown or Raw?
Raw.
Favorite color?
Red.
Freddie or Jason?
Jason.
Favorite rock band?
Ozzy.
Makita or Still?
Still.
Favorite dance move?
Favorite anything Disco Inferno or Dude Love would do.
Hey, I like it. Sarah Michelle Gellar or Drew Barrymore?
Sarah Michelle Gellar, because of I Know What You Did Last Summer. Wait. Yeah. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Yep.
Yeah, but we can't forget Drew Barrymore, Scream, opening scene.
Oh, never mind. Drew Barrymore, Scream. Because Scream's superior out of those two. I'm an idiot. Duh.
Yeah. Favorite podcast?
This one, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah. And then I need you to nominate one. Wait, what was that?
I said 3 count, baby. This one.
Oh, yeah. Nominate one person that you want to see on this podcast.
Oh, man. Oh, let's see. If I tell you what, man, if you could get Tony Myers that does Leatherface, he's up in Jersey and he still carries on the legacy. He's like the third incarnation. That would be great.
Okay. That's definitely, we're going to have to look at that one. And then last but not least, my favorite question to ask every single person that comes on the show, favorite curse word?
Oh, man. Probably bitch. Bitch is funny. Bitch is just, it's so funny. Bitch. And the way I use the word bitch, it's not just delegated to females. I use it for everybody, and it's a funny ass word. So yeah.
I
Bitch.
saw this funny TikTok the other day, right, where it was like Black Widow, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Hulk. These people together form bitch. I was like, yo, like it's so good.
I love that.
So that is it for the 3 Count Podcast questions. So, Mr. Evil Nate, all I need from you is to let our viewers and our listeners know where they can find you.
Okay. Basically, I'm on Twitter. I think it's Evil Nate on there. On Instagram, Evil Nate. Facebook, you can find Nate Hewitt. I have to use a last name on there, so I just picked Hewitt from the Chainsaw Remake series. I didn't want to use Sawyer. There's a lot of Sawyers out there. I would love to use Sawyer, but I was like, I'll just stay away from it. So you can find me on Facebook as Evil Nate Hewitt, Kill Billy. I think if you tap in any of those hashtags, you'll see me just using them. So I'm on all of that. I'm on TikTok as Evil Nate. Get ready to start up a YouTube channel to kind of document this stuff, like my return back to wrestling. So when I do that, just look for Evil Nate on there, Kill Billy, Urban Legend, anything like that. So
Bet. And there you have it. So what does that mean? You know what that means. That means it's time to go home and bring on the finish, because that is it for the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Entering the Ring. And like I said, I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up this mountain called wrestling. And like every good Sherpa, which you can call me, you need someone who's been there, done that, and can help you get up the wall more efficiently and more effectively. But you know what to do. It's never about me. It's about who's entering the ring. And today you see him right there. He is the Kill Billy, the Urban Legend, Evil Nate. And you guys know what to do. Tune into the next episode and be there, or you just wait for this episode to end. You wait for the outro, and then you pick another one of our episodes to listen to. Peace. What's going on, 3 Count Nation? I'm Clifford Red Dog Miller with the catchphrase. But what I really want to do right now, go to twitter.com, right? Go over there, find us at the 3Count_pod, give us a follow, give us a like, give us a comment. We want to talk to you guys. Go to IG at the 3Count Pod. Give us a like, give us a follow, leave us a comment. We want to interact with you. Go to youtube.com, give a subscribe, turn the bell on, turn the notifications, leave a comment. We want to talk to you. Go to anchor.fm/the 3Count Podcast, and in there, you can leave us a message, and we will talk to you. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that we want to talk to you. We want to have fun with you guys, and we love listening to what you guys have to say. Also, one thing I need you to do for me, the 3Count Podcast also has merchandise. At prowrestlingtees.com/the 3Count Pod. Please go buy our t-shirts. We love you guys, and we hope you love us too. So show us some support, please.